Okay, let's talk about how to read. Okay, reading is a complex process. Your brain isn't adapted to read effectively. To to read in the sense that you understand things and you learn reading in young age. And some people fail and they don't learn to read in their lifetimes. And these people are excluded. They will not watch this video probably. And I talk about people who learn to read, but they are they are they are excluded from the system. It's the system of reading. Let's put it this way. And how do you understand texts? Okay, I have some I can talk about. Okay, here's some text. This is the first version of Google. Google works. It's just it doesn't always work. It works very well. Learning to read text. Learning to read in English. 7x for understanding any text. Learn to read is somewhat challenging. Okay. Define the every word. Don't define every word. Make a vocabulary before you begin. Use context and clues. Look for word prefixes and suffixes. Okay, what you need to know is that your thinking is the ultimate resource of reading. You need concentration skills. You need thinking skills. Thinking skills are probably more important for reading than anything else. You need a good memory. What you need to know is that thinking is highly involved in reading, and this is why active reading is so good. It shows you that you don't know a lot. For example, what I know here about the text here, practical me trader. Nach des Zufalls ruled by randomness. Schwarze Späne. I can't read what I wrote, but I don't know that much, and my preferences are correct, but I don't know enough about the text and to gain information to concentration and to thinking about the text. And when you think, when you learn to read, and when you write, you become a better thinker and you become a better reader. And reading is probably equal important in reading because you develop your thinking by reading, by writing. And when you write, your golden knowledge gains, your thinking gains, you become a better thinker. And this is why I recommend you a blog. A blog is necessary is necessary for you to make contributions and probably to find a job in the future. And my prediction is correct, or my business model is correct. My idea. I'm let's call it idea, because the business model will not make money with it. Do it for free. And your thinking is highly involved in reading. You have to think about the text. When you think about the text, you become a better reader, and this is why active reading is so important, because you have to think about the text. And you have to understand the words. The words are probably not that important. When you understand the sentence, you can understand the sentence without knowing every word. You just figure it out, and your understanding develops over time. And you can memorize just a few what is written. And I have no final conclusion about how to read and how to become a better reader. But generally speaking, you have to think. And this is a problem that when I think about. When I think about how to read, and how do you start thinking when you read? This is an open question for me. Your memory is probably involved in your thinking. And you have to know something about what you read. And this is why you have to specialize in some fields. Because you have to know something about the fields that you read, and you gain knowledge over time. You start slowly, and your knowledge gains over time, and you become a better thinker in your fields, and your knowledge has to develop over time. And when you become a better thinker, when you can think better about a topic, and this is why your preferences are so important, that you have to develop your preferences hardly, and you have to protect your preferences. Because when you failed once in your fields of preferences, you have a hard time to come back. This is what happened to me with my mothers. And you have to develop your thinking. This is what is my guess. This is why active reading is so important, because you think about it. You have to become a better thinker in your field of preferences, and you can develop preferences by starting slowly, but this is a hard thing. You need interest in something. And what are my preferences? As I said, there are logical conclusions. What should be my preferences? I should things I understand something about. Your understanding might be the light of it might guide you through your thinking. Your understanding might guide you through your thinking. This is an important sentence, and you should remember that. And people they have no talent for something, and they listen to something, that they might develop preferences this way. You have to start slowly, and then you have to accelerate. And over time your knowledge develops, and you have to use your memory. And your memory understanding, because your thinking is influenced by what you know, what you understand. You can make observations. You can look at this and say, give it a name. You give it a name, and therefore it exists in your mind as a factor of reasoning. This is a pen. Once there was no name for a pen, and as the pen now exists, and you have a name for it, you can learn it through conversations. You can also don't have a name for it. You don't know the name of pen or of Stift in German, if pen is correct. And if you don't know the name of a Stift or a Kugelschreiber, bullet points. Then you can find a name for it. But as you see the Kugelschreiber, you know that it exists. You can observe it. Through the observation from reality, your thinking does develop, and the observation exists, and the Kugelschreiber exists. You know that these are existent, and so our language probably develop over time. We make observations about reality, and we made inventions, and we gave it a name. And I once had the idea of anti-fragility, but I had no name for it. More later developed my company. And the better way is that you have conversations, and that a conversation is not equal what you read. You can be a good conversation partner, but you don't have to be able to read. This is not the same brain activity. The brain has probably a different activity when it reads. You have to develop your skill of thinking. And when you have ADHD, you have problems with reading, and you have problems with preferences because you have an executive dysfunction. And the dysfunction develops over time. You can do neurofeedback. Neurofeedback is probably the reason why it works, or why you make a difference. What is the reason behind your improvements? Is time and probably mental calculations. This is speculative.